welcome to Fork in the Loaf. Today I'm going to be canning, doing a ready-made meal. I love to have soups canned. I don't like store-bought soup. There's not very many store-bought soups I like. And so I am making a beef barley soup today. I don't know if there's such thing as an approved recipe for beef barley soup or not. All I know is it's my favorite beef barley recipe. I got it off of, I think I got it from Cooking Classy, might have been her website, but it's a spin-off of her recipe, and I'm canning it versus putting it in the Instant Pot or slow cooking it. So I figured I'd take you along with me and show you how we do it. All the stuff that I have out right now is, I kind of like to do a layering type of thing. So I don't like to do where you mix it all in a soup pot and then you kind of divvy it out into each jar. I kind of like it to be a little more like know how much we're getting in each jar, making sure that we have the same amount of meat and vegetables in each jar versus all vegetables in one jar and all meat in another jar on accident. Anyway, so I'll just show you how I'm going to do that, and I'll point you down and get started. Okay, so the biggest downfall with this is I'm not sure, like this is how much it is for both. I did doubled the batch, and this is, you put 2 cups of barley in for the whole batch. So the hardest thing is going to be divvying it all out evenly between all my pint jars. And I'm going to do pint jars because I like to be able to grab and go for lunches, for my husband's lunches, or I come home to eat now, but it's easy to grab a jar, throw it in a bowl, and eat it. Cap it up if I'm only going to eat half of it. Grab 2 if we're going to have it for dinner. That kind of a thing. So the first thing that I want to do, I'm cheating on my carrots. I got some shredded carrots. I did slice up some celery. I browned up my meat. So I just put it into skillets. I did it's about 4 pounds of beef top round. And I fried each of them until all the liquid was gone and it was starting to brown. In here I have about 1 gallon of beef broth, plus I had like a couple tablespoons of dried minced onion that I wanted to get out of my cupboard, so I just threw those in here. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to kind of finish the broth. In the broth, we're going to put 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. This is not actually kikkoman. We just keep using this for the container because we got a big 5-gallon bucket of this stuff, and I don't even use that much soy anymore. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. We called it bug juice or black bottle. Those were the names of my grandfather called it as a child. Now it calls for minced garlic, but for canning, I kind of like the powdered garlic. I feel like it's a little more stable. And I'm going to just put in like 2 teaspoons. It calls for like 3 tablespoons of minced garlic. So I figured 2 teaspoons is close enough in the powdered stuff. It calls, so normally you would use 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. I hate wasting a can. Thank goodness I'm doing a double batch here. But I'm going to be adding something different than her recipe. I like to add some canned tomatoes to it. So I hate to put all of it in, but I hate to waste it too. So I'm going to go ahead and put it all in there, because it won't hurt to have a little extra tomato. My husband loves tomato in everything, so he'll love it. Just like that. For my jarred tomatoes, I like to cut them up a little bit before I throw them in anything, because they're whole. And I just go through here, and if each jar doesn't have a little tomato in it, that's okay, because I'm putting all the juice in there as well. And I just made a big mess. Imagine that. I'm going to put in some parsley flakes. One of the things with herbs is sometimes they can get worse as you can, like stronger as you can them. I don't think parsley's too bad. Thyme, I just had to go grab some because I'm totally out. Thyme is one. I don't love the taste of dried thyme. I don't mind fresh thyme, but for some reason dried thyme can sometimes overpower the flavors in a soup. So I like a little bit of thyme, but not so much that I want some in every jar. So I'm going to put probably right around a teaspoon in the whole thing, maybe, yeah, probably a teaspoon. Just a little bit more. And then rosemary is not one. This one will get really strong. This is from something that we grew back in, I want to say 21, and I really just want to put in like a pinch. So if every jar doesn't get a rosemary, bummer. I just want the taste to go in there. And I'm just going to stir it till that tomato paste is incorporated. All the herbs get a chance to get wet. So I know that my canned tomatoes have a little bit of salt in them. I always can a little bit of salt. There's salt in the soy sauce. There's salt in the Worcestershire sauce. I don't think I'm going to add any more salt to this, and we can always salt and pepper our own when we take it out to eat it, because some of us like more salt than others. So, and I don't love to cook with salt. I like to add it after we eat, and pepper. My dogs are barking, sorry. They're just in the background. So I'm gonna start by putting in, let's do a 1/4 cup of meat. It's a 1/4 cup measuring spoon, spoon. I'm gonna start with a 1/4 cup. That's gonna put me about down to, what, an inch, maybe, let's try 1/2 cup. So there's another 1/4 cup, and it's not perfect. It's just I think that we're gonna do about 1/2 cup of meat per this. And then we're gonna do this is an 1/8 cup, so about 2 tablespoons of celery. About 2 tablespoons of carrot, so a little small handful. Almost forgot onion. So I'm gonna just add just a small pinch of onion to each one. And then, this is gonna be the weird part, is I gotta figure out how much barley. I almost wanna just do I almost just wanna do 1 tablespoon. Maybe 1.5, because I don't want it to thicken. I don't want it to be like a thick bean kind of a dish. I want it to be a soup still, but have the barley in it. So I think I'm just going to do 1.5 tablespoons of barley. I think that would work. And then I'm going to take my broth, which has all that stuff in it. Give it a good stir. Oh. I found some mushroom powder. I have a little bit of mushroom powder left. So I think I'm going to put some of that in there too, because we like mushrooms. And I've got whole mushrooms right now that we've got a dinner planned for it. So I'm going to throw in some mushroom powder. So then we're going to take our broth. And the thing here, if I'm not careful, I will lose this. Okay, so get your debubbler out and make sure you get all your little bubbles out. And there's my little handy dandy inch mark on my thing. And so I'm gonna go kind of like that, and we're exactly at 1 inch, which normally, how I always tell is this little ridge right here. I just keep it right there at the bottom of that ridge, and that's about 1 inch. Always. And that way I don't have to constantly break that thing out and constantly be checking it to make sure it is 1 inch. So, okay, so then after you've debubbled it, We're going to do a quick wipe. You're also checking to make sure that you don't have any chips on your glass, because if there's any little chips, it's not gonna seal. So I just found a ring in my stash, and if you see that little dent right there, if it has any little dents or divots like that, I toss them. Because one, I have tons of them, and two, I don't want to risk the seal. I don't want to risk not getting a seal because there's a little dent that's making it misplace. Finger tight so you can move it, but it stops. And then I'm going to go put these out, actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish filling all the rest of these and see how many we get from all this. And I'll take you outside with me when I'm ready to put them in the canner. See you in just a few. Just a quick little interruption here before I take you outside. So I got 15 jars out of those 2 batches. I had that much rye left, or it's not rye, barley left, which was probably maybe just a little more than a tablespoon. And broth, I had maybe close to a cup left. I'm pleased. And then the carrot, I had about that much carrot left. So I think I did pretty well as far as divvying it out and eyeballing it, and not being exactly, I'm sorry, I got 16 jars. So I didn't do it exactly precise. I didn't do mathematic, all the divvying and all that stuff, but I think I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out as far as what we have left over compared to what we have to do. And I can put this in a jar, this sauce in a jar, and I can can it with this and use it some other time for something else. But I think I'll probably throw it into something here in the near future. I'll put it in a jar, stick it in the fridge, and we're gonna do chili one of these days. I could put that in with my chili. We're gonna do, actually I think I will put that in with my chili. I've got kidney beans soaking right now. So let's go outside and I'll show you how we can this. Okay, so you're gonna hear birds singing, you're gonna hear dogs barking, sorry. So we're gonna go ahead. Nothing that I'm doing is hot. My water in here is not hot. It's cold. My water and everything going in here is not hot. If you're gonna do hot stuff, make sure your water is hot. Cold stuff, make sure your water is cold. So I'm putting it all in cold, so it'll all come to temperature at about the same time, come to pressure. And just to give you a disclaimer, I don't know that this is not a scientifically proven recipe or whatever. It's kind of a, I guess you could call it a rebel recipe. It's just a recipe of soup that I love that I'm gonna can. It's one of my favorites. I love beef barley soup. Okay, there is a little notch right here on my canner. There's a little arrow on the top of my canner here, and I'm going to match those. And you kind of want to start a little to the side. Another thing is you want to make sure that you are oiled. I did oil this side, but I think I'm going to go get a rag and oil this side. So before I came out here, I oiled this side of my my canner. I'm going to just do the inside of this as well. I've just got ghee on here. I'm just going to use that. I don't like to put white vinegar in my canning water because it ruins the rings, and I'd rather have the rings not be ruined, but I don't have super hard water either. So as of right now, our water's not super hot. It's just municipal water, so it's not super hard. So it's not super necessary for me to put white vinegar in there. I am lining up my arrows, making sure that there is the same amount of space between the lid and the pot on all sides. I'm hearing noises that I think my daughter's here. So I'm going to put my screws on. We're going to go opposite sides, and I'm not tightening them yet. I'm just putting them on because I got to make sure all those spaces are the same. Okay, and tighten them. I love my All-American. I don't even know how to use a Presto. I'm sure it's just as easy. But the All-American is what I was taught on. It's what I use. It is a little bit windy, so hopefully it doesn't get so windy that it blows out my burners. Just make sure you're over your heat source. And don't look at my dirty camp chef. This thing is so old. Has been through years of canning and camping and being outside, and I have a brand new one. I just don't want to break it out and get it dirty yet. I kind of want to wait till I have a covered area to put it, which is coming someday. Someday, let's say within the next year or two, we should be in our new house. But in the meantime, so you don't want to put this on too high. I'd say about medium heat, as if you're heating it up on the stove, not trying to boil it. You're trying to bring it to, let's see, how do I say this? If you go too fast and get it too hot too fast, it will siphon. If you go too cold too fast, it'll siphon. So you kind of want to regulate your temperature slowly. Okay, I'm going to bring this up till it starts to vent, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, I hope you can see that, how this steam is coming out like it is. This is when I start my timer for 10 minutes, and it's called venting. I'm letting all the pressure happen in here, like it's getting rid of all the extra air so it can fill it all up with pressure. And I will be back when that 10-minute timer goes off and we're about ready to put on the weight. Okay, it has been 10 minutes. It's really loud out here. Neighbors vacuuming or something, air blowing, something. Anyway, so I'm going to, I've got this on my 15 pounds of pressure because that's my altitude. I have to have 15 pounds of pressure for everything. I'm above 2,000 feet. So I'm just going to quickly and carefully set that on there. And then I'm going to watch my gauge till it this is going to start jiggling. And this will be at about, I think it's off gauge. I need to go get it checked. But about 12 to 15 pounds of pressure is when this starts to jiggle. When that happens, I'm going to set my timer for an hour and 15 minutes or 75 minutes. So I will come back. When am I going to come back? I'm going to come back when it's all finished. Unless you really want to see this jiggling. It's almost there now. I could give you a quick update on my little chicks while we're here. But, oh, look, I need to clean that out bad. Sorry. But Odin trying to get in and see. There's all the little chicks. They're about 4 weeks. They're about 4 weeks old now. Hey, girls. There's one sitting up on that little roost up there. How cute is she? How cute is she? Look at how cute they are. So that one is supposed to be a black sex link, and the two solid black ones down there are the black sex links, and then the three white and black are supposed to be the silver laced Wyandottes. But this is our outdoor brooder, and then they'll move here probably in another week or two, because we can't just have one brooder, we got to have three. But we will move them to the chicken coop that's over by the girls so that they can start integrating with the girls. Oh, and get out there. Okay, so now is when I'm going to adjust my heat. I'm going to turn it down a little to the little sweet spot. This will stay going, and all that jiggling lets me know that that's where it needs to be. I'm going to go set my timer now for 75 minutes or an hour and a half. I'm sorry, an hour and 15 minutes. And then we'll come back when this is done, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so my timer just went off. I'm going to turn the heat off, and that's all I'm going to do. And it's probably going to take around an hour, half an hour to an hour, for this to cool off enough for me to start removing this. So once your timer goes off after the hour and 15 minutes or the 75 minutes, You literally just turn it off and walk away. So I will see you back over here when I'm ready to undo everything. Okay, so the time, this has gone down let's see if I can show you. So this needle is laying all the way down on that little pin, and that's kind of where we want it. Now, for some reason, even when my pin is all the way down like that, I could let it sit out here overnight until morning, and it will still have pressure in there. So just try to kind of do it slowly. Because if you go too fast, it will siphon. I don't even know what I look like right now. Okay, so I was outside, my glasses are dark. Anyway, this is the soup. It's still kind of warm from the canner, but this is what it looks like. And it looks like all of them sealed, none of them broke, thank goodness, which is not a common thing. Normally one of them at least breaks or doesn't seal, but so far it looks like they all might seal. But there's still broth. It's still brothy, and it's got the barley in it, and it looks like it came out beautifully. So tomorrow, after these have a chance to cool, I normally don't pick them up and play with them like that, but I wanted to show you kind of closer up. So tomorrow, when when they have a chance to cool, I will wash them down, take off all the rings. I'll put them back downstairs. I'll put them in my food storage, and a lot of the stuff that I used was already in my food storage. My spices, my broth, my the barley, all that stuff was already part of my food storage. I just created something that's going to be easier to eat and easier to consume and easier to access. It's done already. So there's going to be less work involved with being able to eat it later. And sorry for my hair, I'm sure it's crazy. Anyway, thank you for joining me on this adventure of a fork in the loaf. Hit subscribe if you like this. If you hit subscribe if you haven't already. Like it if you like this kind of content, and share it with your friends. Thanks for joining me.